I chose to speak today on the topic of humility, and I will tell you that this talk did not really end up at all how I had originally planned it. When I originally thought about speaking today, I thought, maybe I'll speak about pride and the dangers and the ill effects that pride, overconfidence, hubris, over self-importance, how dangerous that can be and destructive to relationships. I think we all know this. We've all heard the expression, pride comes before the fall. And we've either seen this firsthand or we just know in our hearts that that's true. And in thinking about pride, I was reminded of a conversation that I had many years ago with a client. I was meeting with this client to discuss his company's need to fire its executive director. Now, this executive director was a young guy, very charismatic, very intelligent, a good-looking guy, and on paper seemed like the perfect person to lead this organization. But this executive director was extremely prideful, just very cocky and overconfident, and as a result, he was just really unable to relate well to his employees. The employees couldn't stand him. He didn't relate well to clients because he just never wanted to hear what anybody else had to say. He just always knew more than everybody else. And so when I'm meeting with my client to discuss having to terminate this guy, my client, who was a guy that I respected a great deal, he said to me, pride is the worst of all sins because it literally blinds you to the fact that you're sinning in the first place. And I've thought about that countless times over the years. It's right on the money. It was the best definition of pride that I had ever heard. But the more I thought and prayed about this event, and the more I thought about what Clarity and Clarity Connects is all about, I decided I really don't want to talk about pride. Rather, I want to talk about humility and how humility allows us to create and strengthen connections with others by allowing us to be in the present for them. We all want to be successful as parents. We all want to be successful as in our personal relationships, and we want to be successful in business. And I'm going to submit to you this morning that truly connecting with our children and our significant others and our business partners and clients and customers by choosing to be present for them will absolutely foster this success. So many of you probably know that I am the father of 6 children, and at least one of them is here today. When I told the kids that I was going to be speaking today about humility, my daughter said, "Dad, how are you going to talk about being humble? You're always looking at yourself in the mirror and telling us how lucky we are to have the coolest and the best looking dad out of all of our friends." I said, "It's possible to be cool and humble at the same time." And honestly, I have tried my best to be a good dad for my kids. And in my mind, as a man, as a father, there's really no more important job than raising your kids and trying to be there for them the best that you can. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I've always tried my best. And in thinking about this talk and thinking about humility, I just couldn't help but thinking about my kids. And anyway, I was thinking about this YouTube video that I saw recently, and I bet a lot of people here today have seen this video. In this video, an Australian company was interviewing several sets of parents and asking them the same question. If you could have dinner with anybody that you want, who would it be? And then it showed the parents' responses. One parent answered Marilyn Monroe. One answered Kim Kardashian. One idiot even answered Justin Bieber. And then the interviewer separately interviewed the children of these parents. And they asked them the same question. If you could have dinner with anybody that you want, who would it be? And the kids' answers were way different. The kids said, Mom and Dad, the whole family, all of us. Then it showed the parents watching the kids' responses on video, and the parents were astounded. Some of them were crying. the kids would say things like, at dinner, we all get to be together. We get to talk about our day. We get to talk about how we're feeling. And I watched that and I just felt totally convicted. You know, here we are, we want to meet celebrities. Our kids, they just crave our time and attention. And I've thought about that a lot. And then thinking about that video, it also caused me to remember a Friday night about a year ago. My two boys, Will and Sean, who were 12 and 11 years old at the time, they said, Dad, how about we go to the movies tonight with some friends? Can you take us to the movies? So I said, okay. So we went online and we looked to see what movies were playing in the mall that night. And I saw one movie that I really wanted to see myself. And I said, how about we go see this movie? And the boys were like, no, 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 no. We want to see San Andreas. So if none of you have had the privilege of seeing this movie, San Andreas, this is a movie that starred that classically trained, Oscar caliber, Academy Award caliber actor known as The Rock. So that's the movie we ended up seeing. And I'm going to tell you right now that that was probably the worst movie ever made. The acting was horrible, the writing was worse, and the premise was completely ridiculous. And I remember sitting there in the theater thinking, gosh, I really wish I was watching this other movie right now. But when the movie ended, and we all got up to leave the theater, my son, Sean, I just watched these kids, they were so happy, and they were so excited. And my son, Sean, grabs my hand and looks up to me and says, thank you so much, Dad. Wasn't that movie awesome? And I just looked at him and I said, you know what, bud? That was awesome. And I knew right then that I would not forget that moment for a long time. I was good. I feel about my kids like that. Our kids just crave our presence. And humility allows us to give it to them by putting their interests sometimes ahead of our own. And by the way, in that completely embarrassing promo video, which I do hate, by the way, and they make me watch it over and over again, thank you. I mentioned that my favorite practical joke is the fake fall. So, and I do that for the kids. That night when we were leaving the theater, we were headed down the mall escalator, and I just waited till this other group of people was on the way up, and right at the right time, I pretended to fall and smash my head on the thing, and this guy who was coming up said, holy shit, and jumped over. He says, are you all right? So I just jumped up and I said, I got you. And the kids were like, oh my God, Dad, you are so embarrassing. But then we're leaving the mall, going out into the parking lot, and the kids were like, Dad, here comes some more people, do it again. My daughter Anna, my oldest this year, she probably remembers the time a few years ago in Florida when I pretended to smash my face into a light pole, and we almost got this guy to call 911. Remember that? That was awesome. So I will also submit to you that the path to professional success is based more on cultivating relationships than on any other thing. You know, in my view, a strong business requires the owner to relate well and to care for his or her partners, employees, customers, and clients. And I think that the best way of establishing these connections is through humility, by accepting the fact that we don't have all the answers, that in collaboration with others, where we acknowledge and appreciate and draw in the strengths of others, we fortify the team and make the business better. And I will tell you that the world does not always teach this principle. And for me, law school definitely did not teach this principle. You know, we're often taught that in order to succeed, we've got to win at any cost. We've got to be the strongest. We've got to be the best. We've got to win every argument. We've got to have the last word. As a result, we just find ourselves talking and over-talking people and never listening. And I'm telling you, it's just not helpful. It took me a while to figure that out because I really wasn't trained that way. The best professional advice that I ever received along these lines was from the senior partner in my law firm when I first got out of school about 24 years ago. Work hard. Okay, there's no substitute for hard work. Be the first one in, be the last one to leave. Work hard. Take care of your employees. Take care of your clients. and the money will follow. In other words, focus on people, don't focus on money. He died a short time after that, but I've never forgotten what he said to me. And his son, Dick Kaiser, has been my law partner ever since. He's been my partner for over 20 years. And he's been a mentor for me. And how lucky am I to have one of the best human beings and the best lawyers that I've ever met as my mentor. I watch him in the way he talks to his clients, the way he talks to our employees, the way he talks to us partners. It doesn't matter who he's talking to. He's really listening. He really cares about what you have to say. And so I've watched that. You know, on a Friday, you leave the office and he says, what are you doing this weekend? And you know that he really wants to know, because on Monday when you come back, he'll ask you how it went. His clients absolutely love him and are extremely loyal to him, not just because of his skill as an attorney, and he's a great attorney, but it's more about the relationship that he's built with them. I've been lucky enough to have him as a model, and I've tried my best to follow this model. There's a couple people here from my office tonight that'll tell you that it doesn't always work out just that well. You guys stay quiet. But I've had that as a model. And I will admit that there are times when I'm tired, okay, I'm exhausted, I'm stressed, and I'm thinking about the 1,000 things that I have to do, and I don't necessarily have the time to sit and listen to a client's problems. But when an elderly widow slowly makes her way into my office and with tears in her eyes starts telling me about her recently deceased husband, who she met when she was 18, and got married to right out of high school, and was married to for over 65 years. And now he's gone, and she's lost a part of her. Okay? And although the appointment is ostensibly to review her will, we may spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about her will, but I know my job right then in that moment is to be present for her as she tells me how much she misses this man and how lonely she is at home. And this hour that she just spent with me may be the only hour of the day where she has to talk to another adult. And so that's really for me what it's all about. I know that that's going to be the best hour of my day, because I know that business is more about relationships than it is about any other thing. And sometimes it's sacrificing our own personal agendas for our clients' agendas. And I will submit to you as well that these same principles are going to guide us toward success in our personal relationships with our significant others, with our family members, and with our friends. And I also submit that in the context of these personal relationships, humility, I believe, is best expressed as service. So back to that, again, embarrassing promo video where Christy and Nicole were ambushing me with questions about yoga pants and what's my favorite color and whatnot. I thought about it afterwards, and there's one question I wish I answered differently. When they asked me what advice would I give to a group, I think what I would have rather said is serve each other, support each other, trust each other, truly root for each other's success, really want what's best for each other. When we become other-centered instead of self-centered, amazing things start to happen. Instead of just one person succeeding, a whole group succeeds, and on and on and on. And I know I would have answered that if I wasn't desperately trying to remember what songs I sing in the shower. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to mention. You know, when Christy asked me to speak at this event, I was proud. We talk about pride. My head blew up. I thought, wow, she must think I'm really important, or I must have something really great to say to this group or whatever. But thinking back, when she asked me to speak, it was like after I'd seen her about 5 times in 2 weeks as a mental health counselor to talk about all my issues and problems that I was having. And what she actually said was, wow, you're a mess. You should come and talk at Clarity Connects. That's how I picked my topic, humility. So I've been threatened with bodily harm to not go past 15 minutes, and they're over there giving me the old get off the stage cue here, so I am going to wrap this up. There are some amazing speakers on tap today, and I cannot wait to sit here and listen to them. This guy, Sean Douglas, who I just met this morning, when I watched his promo video, the energy that came out of that thing was unbelievable. It's like watching a Rocky trailer. I was on the ground doing push-ups and stuff. I cannot wait to hear this guy talk. He's going to pump us up. I really want to thank the Clarity Girls, Christy and Nicole, for putting on this event, for asking me to speak today. It really, really is a privilege to be here. Okay, this is a great event for a great purpose. And I want to thank the audience for coming, because I think we're all here for the same reason. We want to leave here today inspired to go out and make a real positive difference in our families and in our community. So thank you very much.